Hi, David. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. And you?
Yeah, I'm well. So let's talk about this protein folding case. I don't know much about it, but what I know is that this is an example where machine learning has done well.
Yes, I mean, it's sort of, as Delicia would put it, this is a human flourishing example. This is where we can really benefit from the artificial intelligence advances, and we already are. And it's come because it's a really nice case where there's a lot of data available and the problem's sort of well defined. We know what we're looking for, and so it can be set up so that the artificial intelligence algorithms or machine learning algorithms can just sort of advance on what we knew before in a way, using the data at a scale that we couldn't do as sort of humans. We can't look at that data at that scale.
And how's this happened? Why in this particular example was this possible?
Well, I'm not part of that community, so I can only really mention what I'm aware of from what I've read and what I've seen and what I've heard. And it really, Franca could mention a bit more. She's closer to the community, but she's not part of the community either. And broadly, what was so powerful about how they went about this is they sort of were able to set up the problem in such a way that that they could almost independently identify the advances made by algorithms without worrying about what algorithm was used. And then they sort of set up this process for how to assess how well it had done, the algorithms had done. And so the problem was really well defined. And then they got lots of teams together who worked using very different methods. And they were able to sort of then compare the results along these sorts of very simple, I'm a mathematician, simple criteria. And so basically, by having such a well-defined problem, which people could independently work on, they were able to sort of go through many different sort of methods. The method wasn't important. It was the understanding, the information that was drawn out of the data that they were able to focus on through these sorts of assessments that they'd set up. And so it's a really fascinating example because it became a really collaborative process. They had all sorts of people working on the problem in different ways, and they had this really independent way of assessing the progress made. And that progress then fed back into the community. And because it was a community working on this, the whole the progress, it was a very open and transparent progress. And so it was something where, the learnings from one group were quite quickly feeding back in and having this positive cycle for learnings that others had. And so the whole, it wasn't just about the sort of the algorithms learning, the community was learning again as well. And that's sort of, to me, why this is such a fascinating and wonderful example or case study for us to have. Because it illustrates what we see as good responsible AI and the benefits of doing it responsibly. If people had worked on this same problem without being collaborative in this way, they wouldn't have made the same progress. And so the fact that they were doing it in this collaborative approach, in a very responsible approach, transparent, and it led to further advances. And this is one of the reasons it's such a fantastic example for me. It's such a, I love it as a case study.
It sounds incredible.
Yeah.
And it leads to my question I was going to ask, would you call this responsible AI?
I mean, I think, I don't know enough about it. I'm not close enough to the actual community. I know bits of their work, but I don't have deep knowledge. So I don't know. I don't know enough. I know enough to know that I don't know. But what I do know is everything I've heard about it is responsible. They've done that. They are, as far as I can tell from the outside looking in, the approaches they're doing, this has all the characteristic hallmarks that I'd be looking for in a responsible approach. And so, as far as I know, yes, but what do I know?
No, very good. Very good. Thank you.
Great.